Then there came this big realization. You dream that you woke up, and then you think you're awake until you really wake up. I felt so exhausted and paralyzed when it was about building my business, growing my business. My big realization is, hi everyone, today I take you with me on a walk to do some real talk because I want to talk about a breakthrough I had in my life now. So, everyone who knows me knows that I'm doing self development work in any kind for many years. And I became a yoga teacher, became a meditation instructor, I became a coach, a therapist, and I kept on studying and doing. I had so beautiful, amazing breakthrough with my clients already. And I thought I would be done. I thought me as a coach and as a therapist, I have overcome, I have stepped out of the version that thinks she's not good enough. But then there came this big realization. It was almost like, when you're dreaming and you think you're awake, you dream that you woke up, and then you think you're awake. And all the time you believe that you're already awake until you really wake up. And that's then the only way to realize that you have been sleeping and dreaming. Now, this is what happened with me, believing that I am over this program of how I do it is wrong and I'm not enough. And perfectionism. But there was another layer to that. And this one was the sneakiest of all. Because, as I said, I thought I was awake already, but I was still dreaming. And now this layer, the sneakiest of all, showed up in many different symptoms. The last weeks, I was wondering, for example, why am I so exhausted and so tired? Because how can I be so tired when I do what I love? And that's coaching and therapy and witnessing people going through the most beautiful transformation in the work I'm doing. And I have to say, when, I was never tired thinking about clients or doing client sessions, but I felt so exhausted and paralyzed when it was about building my business, growing my business, and doing, like social media or everything that had to do with planning and growing and going more out there. So I felt exhausted. I felt so drained. And this was one of the symptoms. So it was a freeze state. And it felt like being with one foot on the accelerator, the gas pedal, and with the other one on the brake. And that was very exhausting. I was very exhausted, and I was wondering why. I didn't understand it. Now, what happened then, I love to watch podcasts and videos, everything that has to do with coaching and therapy and, all that. And I watched a coaching session with Peter Crone, where he coached a beautiful young lady, and she is also a coach. And it was around imposter syndrome. Her narrative was, I'm a loser. I'm always going to be a loser. So she operated out through a filter, I'm a loser. So no matter what she did was wrong, and she was striving to get better and to fix herself, not realizing that that was feeding her imposter syndrome. Now, when I was watching that, I could really feel into that, and I somehow related so much to this beautiful lady because I'm also a coach, I'm a therapist, and felt stuck with my business. So I watched this multiple times, over and over again, and I realized the more I watched it, that's me. And I felt so touched by it. And I was wondering why. Now I know. I felt so touched by it because I, myself, was absolutely operating out still from this imposter. Like me trying to be perfect in order to be a coach. Me trying to be, already healed and I have it all sorted. And only then, when I'm already healed, I'm allowed, so to say, to coach other people and to help them with their transformation. I didn't realize that. I was still stuck. I was still operating from this version of me that believed she's not qualified to coach other people or to do therapy with them. And when I realized that, oh my God, it was such a breakthrough. Like seeing this insanity, me trying to be perfect, which is not human. And only then I'm allowed to coach other people. I mean, no wonder was I always almost subconsciously, there was this subconscious criminalization that was going on within me, like almost like I'm not allowed to coach people, or I'm not allowed to do it like I do it because what do I know? I have to, hide that I'm not completely healed. And here's the trap. When I try to be completely healed, I mean completely perfect, then I'm trying to not be human. But guess what? That never works. So, my big realization is I never gave myself the permission to be me. And I thought I was over it, like I said, like this dream analogy. But only then, when I watched this amazing coaching session, I realized that I was still sleeping. I was still dreaming. I was still trying to be perfect and not allowing myself to be me and to be human. And when I realized that, first of all, tears came. I was very emotional because I was so hard and so cruel to myself. I mean, that's really insane, trying to be perfect. I was constantly, still subconsciously, I was blind to it, comparing myself and doing this in a very cruel and unfair way, like comparing myself with coaches who are coaching for 3 decades and then beating myself up that I'm not as successful as they are. So that's really insane. But when I got to that realization, oh my God, it was such a breakthrough for me, because realizing that also, I decided I don't want to continue like this. I mean, who wants to? But because I saw it, because I wasn't blind to it anymore, I could make the choice to step out of it. And you know what happened then? I mean, suddenly I felt so free and at peace, and it suddenly felt good to be me with all these, you know, wounds or all these imperfections. And yes, also programs that I thought a coach cannot have because, I'm a coach. But that's so inauthentic and so not true. And now I believe I can be such a better coach when I understand that people don't want perfect, they want human. And by the way, also, I want to be a human. I am a human. And even if I don't want to, I can resist to it, but good luck with that. That's why I was so exhausted. Anyway, since this realization, what happened was suddenly everything started to flow. Like, for example, even doing this video. I mean, I'm just walking and talking and don't have a clue what I'm saying. I mean, yes, I prepared a little bit what I want to say, but I don't have a full script. I don't, have it thought through. I just talk, real, what's on my heart, hoping that it inspires and helps so many other people. Another thing that happened was that on Sunday, I was sitting down, and this was, a couple of days after I watched this coaching session for the first time. And I watched it many times. And I sat down and made a plan. I made an action plan for all my next major goals and all the big goals and the small goals. And it was fun. It was fun just sitting there and now shifting from I can do what I want instead of I have to do. Because this was my narrative and that was so exhausting. I always thought I have to do in order to become perfect, in order to be, a good coach. I have to do this and I have to do that and I have to prove this. But no, none of that is true. I just have to be me and allow myself to be me with everything that makes me me. These are also my flaws. So I sat down and made this action plan. And this was something I was struggling for months with. And also, it was a Sunday. And why is that important? Tell you why. Because normally on Sundays, I was so exhausted that I needed the weekend to just recharge. I couldn't do anything because I was so exhausted from the week, from all this pushing, this subconscious pushing, where I thought I was, subconsciously I thought I have to do better, I have to push harder, I have to become better, I have to do it right. So that was my main sentence I said to myself. What I do is wrong. Like I'm an imposter. What I do is wrong because I'm not perfect, because I don't have this and that, because I'm not like this person, because I'm me. But now I realized it's all a lie. And I don't want to live from that lie. I just want to be me. And now even doing this video now is like I have no idea how it turns out, but I don't care. I just want to share what's on my mind. Imperfect like it is. And like I said, it feels so free. And I hope really my intention for this video is for all these coaches, healers, therapists, everyone who is out there, moms, partners. You don't have to be perfect. In fact, you never can. And you can only do an amazing job when you allow yourself to be yourself, to be you. Give yourself the permission to be you. I can guarantee you that's such a liberating feeling. And suddenly everything is easy. Suddenly it flows. And yeah, talking about that, now I also want to acknowledge here and thank Peter Crone for the amazing work he is doing. Because just by watching the coaching video, and it was not a full coaching session, it was a live event, where he was talking about 5-10 minutes to this coach, to this beautiful woman. And just by watching that, I could break free. And that was so liberating, and I still feel it. And before, like I said at the beginning of the video, I'm doing so much self-development work. But I realized, like, I think a time ago, that I used to do it from the energy of I need to fix myself. And then I worked a lot on myself, and I thought I would have, stepped out of this version. But as I realized now, there was still a version of me that thought I'm an absolute imposter, and what I do is wrong, and I have to hide how I'm doing it. So whenever I did this self-development work, it was still from an energy, not the same, or maybe not the same color like I had before of I'm not enough. It was another facet to it. But it was more like I have to hurry up to do even more self-development work, and to almost hide this dark parts of me. I wouldn't even call them dark. And now, don't get me wrong, I will still continue to reflect and observe. But now, just out of curiosity and because I want to grow, but not because I believe that there is something to fix, or what was the last layer, I believe that I have to hide parts of me or to make them go away. 1 second. Okay. And this is now that I feel this freedom of doing whatever I want, also self-development work. But now I don't have to hide any part or to try to make any part go away. Instead, I want to really embrace. So I want to really embrace every part that comes up. The fearful part, an insecure part, any part that comes up, it's part of me. And I want to embrace it instead of trying to push it away. Because that's me. And from now on, I give myself the permission to be me. Not perfect, but me, human. And I believe that I can be such a much better coach and therapist when I don't try to be perfect, but use all the energy I have to just, with all I am, focus on my passion. And I made this video with so much love for everyone who might need it. I hope it inspires so many of you also to give yourself the permission to be you. And check out Peter Crone and his amazing work if you haven't, because he's really incredible. And again, thank you, Peter Crone. This was such a breakthrough for me just by watching. And everyone who is watching this, I hope you get inspired by it and can take something out of it. And most of all, give yourself the permission to be you. And if you like this video, maybe you want to like it and subscribe to support my channel if you feel like it. Or maybe you just want to sit with it and think about it. Where haven't you given yourself the permission to be fully you? And maybe from now on, you also want to liberate yourself and give yourself the full permission to be you. I see you next time.